Okay, everyone. Welcome again. This is Prof. Prince from Lion Tech Solutions Canada, and today I am going to be talking to you about the tools that you need to become a DevOps engineer. In other words, the skills that a good and a competent uh, DevOps engineer must 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 possess, right? So these are the skills that makes you a DevOps engineer. And so you need to also understand that every profession has its skill set, right? The skills that you must have, that you must be competent at in order for you to be qualified as a professional in that particular field. A good example is an accountant, right? Um, if you want to become an accountant, you must be extremely good with financial statements, right? Be it income statements, end of year balance sheet, cash flow statements, okay? And all of this you need to master it. You need to master, accounts reconciliation, payables accounts, receivable accounts, current accounts, liability accounts. These are all the terms that you are going to train over and over and over, balance as many balance sheet as possible in order for you to be extremely skilled as an accountant. And so that's exactly what makes you an accountant. Now that is not different with this career that you are considering. Now, know one thing, okay? This career is going to make you a global tech professional. So you are globalizing your skills. And so there are specific skills that makes you a DevOps engineer. Now that we understand that, okay, DevOps is a methodology, an approach, a philosophy towards, you know, um, building, um, building, testing, and deploying applications. So, what are the tools? What do you need for that? Right? Exactly. So that's what we are going to be covering forth in this video. Now, in the course of my career, I have used different tools at different, for different tasks. So every task is going to, is going to require its own tools. Just like if you work in a mechanic shop, right, and somebody drives in with an inflated tire, right, automatically you know the tool that you are going to use to resolve that issue or to diagnose or to investigate. So let's go into it straight up and let's look at what are the skills that you need to master at the end of your training at Lion Tech Solutions as a DevOps engineer. Okay. So what you see in the slide here is just an example of what we mean by tools, but these are not the tools that you're going to need for DevOps, right? We have our own tools. Okay. Okay. So let's just do a quick recap. So what is DevOps, right? DevOps is equals to three things: skills plus tools plus automation, right? So if you have the right skills and you master your tools, you use the tools and the skills to achieve automation towards building, testing, and deploying the applications, then that's what makes you a DevOps engineer. Okay. Now, DevOps also connects developers or the stakeholders, the teams in the development environment plus operations. So when you put developers plus operations together, it forms the word DevOps. DevOps also is a way to build applications faster, reliably, deliver the applications to the market, with, you know, with speed, right? So this is the three core things to shoot. So if you're asking yourself, hey, what is this DevOps all about? It's all about applications, right? Skills, tools, and automation. So these are the skills that you are going to acquire. So I hope you're excited about that. So Let's look at the foundational skills, right? And this is where we are going to start our program from. Linux. Most of you have, Windows computers, right? You are already very comfortable with working on your Windows computer, except for the fact that most of you have been using mostly, the GUI, okay, the graphical user interface. So as you get into this program, the foundation of where we start is gonna be Linux. So we're going to learn Linux commands because Linux is the core and the most popular operating systems that even cloud computing relies on Linux. So it's very, very important for us to learn Linux. So we're going to learn about, the various Linux distributions, Linux commands, how to work on Linux systems is going to be an amazing place to start. We're also going to learn how to automate on Linux. So that is the first skill that you are going to learn. And of course, networking basics and, looking at different networking protocols and also systems communications, how systems communicate with each other. So this is the basic, this is the foundation. And so if you start from here, whether you're coming from, among uh, tech background, business, arts, wherever you're coming from, anybody can start from here because it has basically no entry requirement. So yes, of course, you can start from there. This is our core foundation skills that you need to master. And then still the level of foundation, we have versions control, Git, okay, Git, GitHub, GitLab. And so this is the tool or the skill that you need to master to your, what about 100% mastery of a particular tool. Git is one of them. And that's why it is foundational because there is no project, there's nothing at the advanced level you will do that will not rely on Git. Git is a distributed versions control system. So it's like, the tool or the technology that teams use to collaborate on projects. So imagine, okay, so it's just like, I don't know if many of you, I don't know, but if you have used Google Doc before, right, you will know that if you open a Google Doc document, okay, as long as it's in the cloud, document is online, many persons can collaborate. But the good thing about this collaboration is that is that everybody can be held accountable. So, for example, if you add a line, delete a line, anything you do in that document is being tracked. So we see versions control also directly related to even documents that we use. And versions control is the mechanism, the system behind the reason why we have different versions for applications. So that is the foundation of automation even. So when we get to Git and GitHub, you are going to understand the very fundamentals of software development. Because when developers write the code, that code needs to sit somewhere. And again, this goes to validate why we are dealing with DevOps, cloud, and cybersecurity at the same time. Because even at the level of the source code, we need to be able to implement security, right? So you see how the entire program syncs at that level, right? Very, very important. So Git is the next foundational stuff we're going to learn. And then we get to CI/CD automations. Of course, there are different automation tools or automation platforms. We have Jenkins, GitHub Actions, and automated deployment. So this is the must have skill on your resume. There's no way you can be a DevOps engineer without having an excellent mastery of CI/CD automation. And that has to do with studying technologies like Jenkins, GitHub Actions, and automated deployments. Yeah. Another core area. This is the core. This is the money-making machine of DevOps. Docker, Kubernetes, and scalability. Now, you are going to understand, we are going to teach you and show you with projects how, containerization and orchestration, directly links to Jenkins. So at the end of the day, because when you write Docker files, so you hear about terminologies in Docker like Docker files, Docker images, Docker containers, and yeah, right, Docker networking, Docker volumes. These are Docker terminologies that you are going to learn, must have skills. When it comes to orchestration, it's all about how do we manage our container application. So the next, and of course, in terms of certification, of course, you can go for a Docker associate certification when we are done with covering Docker. You can also go for the CKA certification when we are done with covering Kubernetes, and scalability is just a concept with Kubernetes. So very, very important skill, and we'll talk more about it. So cloud platforms that we're going to cover, of course, we're covering AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. We cannot overemphasize the importance of this, but we are going to focus on one more. So we're going to focus more on AWS, and then do a comparison, a comparative study and analysis. AWS and Azure, and kind of look at how we can contrast them. Now, another very, very important skill that you must learn is infrastructure as code, right? Terraform and CloudFormation. This is so important. Now, the difference between Terraform and CloudFormation is that CloudFormation is just like Azure template. So CloudFormation is more of it's more linked. It's linked to AWS, right? But so it cannot be used on Azure, okay, and it won't also be used on GCP, right? But Terraform can be used on all the clouds, okay? So learning how to deploy applications or deploy infrastructure onto the cloud like AWS, Azure, and GCP using Terraform is key. And this also an aspect where we also implement security, right? So you're going to learn about all the security practices on Terraform pipeline, all of that. Very, very important. You can work for a company and all you do is manage their infrastructure. This is a huge part. So you don't be alarmed that yes, you need to master all the skills. Just like when you go to school to learn mechanic, right? They teach you everything about being a good mechanic. But at the end of the day, you may find yourself in a mechanic shop and all you do is to work on the engine, right? But you were taught everything. So it's the exact same thing, right? So all of this that you learn, you may find yourself in a job and all you do is Kubernetes. Yeah. Or all you do is AWS. All you do is cloud, period. Nothing else. Right? Nothing else. So it's so important that you understand that. Monitoring, after we deploy our applications, we need to monitor. So what can we use? What are the tools we are going to use to monitor? And you need to also understand how interview questions are asked here. So you get questions like, what tools do you use to monitor? So of course, the most popular ones we have Prometheus and Grafana and CloudWatch. AWS CloudWatch is more linked to AWS, okay? Some of the soft skills that you need to also possess is communication skills, which is a good thing because almost all of you already have this particular skill, right? So you need to have good communication skills. It's so important being able to communicate in a simple, concise, and clear language is so important. Breaking complex ideas to the point where everybody on your team can understand. This is what makes you a DevOps engineer. Problem solving. Every day at work, we are solving problems. For example, your application is giving a 404 error. A 404 error means that it's not found. Or a 503 error, bad gateway, 502 error, service not available. So how do you resolve this? This has to do with problem solving, critical thinking skills, collaborating with others, communication, the problem, documentation, so important. And all of this we have learned in our current jobs at the moment. So this is what makes this career, you know, a very, very good one for anyone to succeed in it. So at the end of the day, okay, so the DevOps mindset, of course, what is basically three things: automation, ownership, and reliability. Automation means that we want to automate everything as much as possible. You want to minimize human intervention. Um, there is a very popular philosophy in DevOps, and the mindset is that you want to be able to build once and deploy many. So we do things once manually, and then okay, the process can repeat itself. Ownership, taking ownership for what you do, okay, the errors you commit, your success, projects, your tasks. So being able to work independently is so important. Those are actually the DevOps mindset. Reliability, you're working in a team. So other teams need to be able to rely on you, right? And all of that in doing your job. So very, very important. So of course, what it is time to build your DevOps toolbox, real projects, real job ready skills with Lion Tech solutions. So this is what I have to tell you, right? Do not be alarmed. Okay. The same way I succeeded in this career has helped me. And it's not just helping me, it has opened my mind to be able to coach, mentor, and teach others to get into this. Because anybody can get into it, right? You've seen the tools already. It's like if I have to go study nursing today, and I am to know what to be a good nurse, you need A, B, C, and D. It makes it easy. So if I can master A, B, C, and D, I'm good. Right. So this is why we look forward to welcoming you in our next batch. And thank you so much for watching this video. Please, if this makes sense to you, kindly hit that you like and subscribe to our channel, so that this will encourage us to bring on more videos. But thank you so much, and God bless you all and keep you. If you have any questions, please, you can reach out to us 647-381-8836. It's our WhatsApp number, and we are always available, ready to help you. Thanks so much again. My name is Prof. Prince. I look forward to answering your questions as you consider taking, this career in the year that is coming. Thank you so much, and God bless you. And yeah, bye bye.